My name is Bernard Norman Marcantel, and my date of birth is July the 14th, 1923. I grew up in the town of Oberlin in Allen Parish, Louisiana. My parents were Emil Marcantel and Florence Reed Marcantel. He was a hat salesman, traveling hat salesman, and she was a homemaker. I went to high school in Oberlin, graduated valedictorian of my class there, and that was in the year 1940. And then I went to college at SLI in Lafayette. I met my wife on the debate team at SLI. We had a wonderful debate coach. Probably one of the most influential people in my life was Roy Murphy. And he was the head of the speech department at SLI. And my wife, Martha de Gravel, was also on the debate squad. And so we became acquainted that way. And would, of course, see each other on the debate trips, and we fell in love. When I went to Southwestern, I really majored in accounting and economics for the purpose of making a living if I didn't make it into law school. Because at that time, I had no idea how I'd ever pay for law school. I was actually working as a student employee at Southwestern Louisiana Institute, and I was making $15 a month, and it cost me $13 a month for room and board on the campus. And I actually had $2 a month left to pay for my laundry. So I was on a pretty tight budget. But then after, of course, I got out of the service, where I was able to go to the University of Chicago Law School under the GI Bill. Because at that time we came back, the government was paying veterans tuition and books, and we were actually drawing $120 a month living expenses. So we were in pretty good shape. And I was in the 69th Infantry Division, 273rd Infantry Regiment, and I was in the unit that made the first contact with the Russians south of Berlin. The war ended in Europe in early May, and I re-entered college. I got my undergraduate degree in June of 1946. Got married, and from there I went to Chicago. I got a Doctor of Law degree from the University of Chicago, and then I went to Tulane, and I obtained a Doctor of Law degree at Tulane by taking Louisiana code courses. The reason why I went to Tulane was to obtain at least 16 hours of Louisiana code work. I found out that if you were a veteran and you took the code work, that it would not be necessary to take the bar exam. I have office hours in Jennings, and then on Wednesdays I'd go to Elton and to Kinder, and then on Saturdays I'd go to Oberlin. And I had good friends who were notaries and justices of peace who would make appointments for me, and I would meet with my clients, and that continued for about 3 years when I became district attorney of the 31st District, which was a new district. And I was elected as the youngest district attorney in the state of Louisiana. There was a lot of labor turmoil going on in Oakdale and Elizabeth because there was a paper mill there that was shut down temporarily by a walkout of the workers on a strike. And that resulted in quite a lot of violence, pipelines being blown up, cars being blown up. And I was thrown into that mess, I guess you'd call it, to try to bring some peace there. And so we called, the sheriff and I was Sheriff Ralph Thompson in Allen Parish. We called a public meeting in the town of Elizabeth and invited everyone who was interested to come to that meeting. And of course, the two sides were both well represented. And at that meeting, I laid certain ground rules down, one of which was that I would not tolerate any type of violence or overlook anything that was against the law. My purpose being to take care of the little things before they got to be big things. And so we did bring some order out of that chaos, and I did have quite a few prosecutions that came up as a result of the violence from that strike. But that's the way I got my feet wet. I guess probably the most notorious cases were that one of them had to do with a man named Artigo who was convicted of murder of a young man up in Allen Parish. And the body was found floating in a rice canal. That got a lot of national attention. And it's a real gruesome story that I don't want to get into. And the other one was murder here in Jennings of two young boys by some individuals who had no other purpose than just to kill these boys. And that one also got a lot of national attention. But remember that I prosecuted every case for 26 years. It came up either in Allen or Jeff Davis Parish. So they were all important. Well, I became city judge, took the oath in 1984. I had retired in 1978 as district attorney and was in private practice for a period of about 6 years. And then the opening came in the city judgeship, and so I qualified for that and was elected without opposition, and continued until I was forced to retire when I reached 70 years of age. I was called by Justice Jack Watson, who was on the Supreme Court, and he asked me if I would be willing to serve on the Court of Appeal. Of course, I was very willing to serve because saw that as a great opportunity, and so I took that appointment thinking that it would be for just a short time because Judge King was ill. But it turned out that Judge King passed away, and I stayed for the whole year of '92. I was asked by the Supreme Court to retire, which I did, and then I began to receive appointments at various districts, like the 15th District, which is Lafayette and Crowley, and Abbeville, and then the 14th District, Lake Charles, 31st District, of course, Jennings, and my last appointment was in '98 in Beauregard Parish, and so I actually continued to be on the bench until, well, '98 was the last year that I actually took an appointment on. I have been practicing law for 65 years, last February. I am still practicing law, though not as active as I once was. I still go to the office and still take clients and still enjoy it. Nothing makes me happier than to be able to pull down a book and read it. I'm not into all this newfangled stuff about having everything over the internet. I like books. I was always very active in the Boy Scouts of America and was awarded the Silver Beaver for my work in the Boy Scouts. I've been active in the Knights of Columbus for years. I've been very interested in such things as the Ziegler Museum, Arts Council. I've just generally tried to be at least interested in, if not a doer, in civic affairs in the parish. And as a result, I've been twice named as Citizen of the Year in Jeff Davis Parish. I was named some years back by the Welsh Citizen, which is a newspaper, and also in 2001 I was elected or designated as Citizen of the Year by the Jeff Davis Chamber of Commerce. Well, we actually had 5 children. We lost one as a baby. But my children that grew up were David Emil Marcantel and Nancy Tabb Marcantel, Gregory Norman Marcantel, and Peter Camille Marcantel. Those are the ones who have grown up and that I'm so proud of all of them. I would like to be thought of first as a good lawyer, as a good public servant, both lawyer and judge, and also as a good family man, because I'm very proud of my children and their accomplishments.